District, Jeff Plale, and his challenger, our County Supervisor, Plale-larson. I'm Bob Schneider. I'm the President of the Baby Neighborhood Association. I will be your host and moderator tonight. We're going with a format that's familiar, much like the presidential debates you've seen over the years. We will flip a coin to determine who gets the first question, and the question will go to the candidate, and he will have 2 minutes to craft his answer, and then the opponent will have a 1-minute spot for the purpose of rebuttal. As moderator, I will reserve the right to extend either candidate's time by up to 30 seconds. At the end of the debate, we'll get to hear 5 minutes from each of the gentlemen running, and they will give their closing remarks, and we will call it a close and get out of this warm building and hopefully catch the Packer game before it ends. So, I thank you all for coming, and to begin, we will flip a coin. Say the incumbent should get the call.
Give me tails.
Tails it is.
All right. Hopefully I didn't burn on my rabbit's foot tonight.
These questions were submitted to us by members of the Baby Neighborhood Association. They've come in with over the last couple of weeks. I am going to shuffle them just so that we're not in any way slanting their questions. Here we go. Both Walker and Johnson have called Badger Care an entitlement program and want to do away with it. Do you agree?
Well, no, I don't. I think both Walker and Johnson are wrong. I was around when Badger Care was created. I was a supporter of Badger Care. This past session, we voted to expand Badger Care. And by expanding Badger Care, we're covering an additional roughly, depending on how you count the numbers, anywhere from about 58 to 63,000 poor people here in Milwaukee County, particularly people of color, women and children, who have not been eligible for Badger Care in the past. Now, there was a lot of misinformation when this expansion was proposed, that this was somehow socialized medicine, or this was Wisconsin's version of Badger Care and all this nonsense. I mean, really what this is it's expanding very basic coverage to the very poorest people who need it the most. And I know the Republicans railed against this, and there were some folks that railed against this, but this is really just a very basic coverage plan. I don't know a whole lot of folks who would actively seek this out if they had an alternative. But it's also fully funded. This is an annuity type of a plan where the participants pay for it. It doesn't cost the taxpayers. It's something that I proudly supported, and I'm glad that it is here.
Thank you, Senator. Chris, now 1 minute for rebuttal.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you to the Baby Neighborhood Association for helping me coordinate this, and thanks to everybody who came out. I watched the debate last week when they had that on. It was like akin to a magic show, you know, where you could almost seem like they knew what they were talking about as they were talking about Badger Care Plus as being some kind of entitlement. So I think the fact is that Scott Walker and Mark Newman are out of touch. And I think that would be something we need to keep here for Wisconsin, something for our most vulnerable citizens. It's something that's entirely acceptable, and I think we need to expand on programs like that. Everybody deserves to have insurance coverage, including those who are unemployed and underemployed. So I think that is an essential piece of Wisconsin's history that we need to continue.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Our next question. What have you done for single fathers' rights in Wisconsin?
Is it to me? Well, as a county supervisor, we state programs like that. But I can tell you that things we have done as a county supervisor, making sure that GAM was accessible until it was turned over to the state was something that's key. I would say that another big thing that I can do as a state senator is somebody who's going to be looking out for all families. And I think that's going to be key. So not somebody who's looking out for corporations or corporate lobbyists. So in that, I mean that the incumbent pushed for cable deregulation, which ended up raising rates over 21%, 20 to 40% for all consumers who use that. That's one example. And that was from Bob Chernow, who gave that to me. He said, look, this is something that hurt families that Mr. Plale ended up pushing. So I would say that I will always be on the side of regular people, regular neighbors, instead of corporate lobbyists. So that's something that's key.
Senator, your rebuttal?
Well, I'm not sure what cable deregulation has to do with single fathers, but I'll give it my best. This past summer, Representative Tony Staskounas from West Dallas began chairing the Legislative Council Study Committee to explore the issue of maintenance awards within divorce situations. And anytime you get into family court or family law, it becomes a very emotional math problem. And my overall goal when it comes to family court is to take as much emotion out of the equation as possible, because that hurts the families, that hurts the kids. What I want to do is bring stability to those type of situations, and it's something that, like I said, my friend Tony Staskounas from West Dallas has really been a leader on, and I'm proud to serve with him on that task force, and I'm proud to work with him on that to try to bring some stability to the family court process. That's quite the alarm we got there, Bob.
Okay. And the next question goes to Jeff. It is, Bayview cares deeply about our wonderful parks. What will you do in this upcoming term to assure the parks get the care they need?
Well, parks has been an issue that has been near and dear to my heart for a very long time. I grew up in South Milwaukee. I spent a lot of my time as a kid playing ball in Grant Park and Rawson Park. And really what happened in the legislature this past session was really a shame that we weren't able to come to some form of resolution on the parks issue of funding for our parks. I talked to folks who lived in South Milwaukee across from Grant Park forever. They tell me the stories of how back in the 50s with the Swan Pond and how it was beautifully manicured. That's something that Milwaukee has to be very proud of, and we should be proud of again. I've talked to Pat Jerzyk, County Supervisor from South Milwaukee, who has raised the issue of extending or expanding something like a Parks Commission, not a Parks District Board, but a Parks Commission. To adequately fund our parks. I supported the sales tax that would allow for the funding of our parks as well as our transit. That's one of those quality of life issues that once it's gone, you never get back. It all goes back to the old sewer socialists from the 20s and 30s when we created the park system. And I go back to the days of Gene Grubschmidt when he was the county supervisor down here and how he fought for the parks and got results. And that's something that cannot fall off the page, because it's something that is near and dear to all of us. We're sitting in a Milwaukee County Park right now. This building wasn't built by accident. Those grounds aren't manicured by accident. It's something that I'm committed to. I've worked closely with Representative John Richards from the 19th Assembly District, which is the northern third of my district. And we're committed to getting that done, and we're going to get it done. We're going to find a stable funding source for our park system, because we can't let it go.
And Mr. Larson, your report.
Thank you. Parks are something that are part of my core. Being a staunch environmentalist, it was part of the reason why I ran for County Board Supervisor 2.5 years ago, pledging to make sure that our parks were restored to the legacy that they once were. And I've been fighting to do that nonstop since. Not only did we make sure the referendum question got on the ballot, but I also led the movement to educate voters on it, the Quality of Life Alliance, that went out there and educated people, had tens of thousands of voter contacts, and pushed for that passage, along with transit advocates, and was very saddened when the state balked at it and didn't take up the park side after it was left out of the budget. So that was something that was greatly upsetting. So I think that's something that I will make sure to finish the job on once and for all, once I get to be your next state senator. As far as just outside of wearing a suit and pushing for it that way, I'm somebody who's out here. You know, if you look across the street at the Humboldt Park Pond of the lagoon, I've organized weed outs there. I've seen people in the audience who've been down there and waiters pulling out invasive cattails along with me. If you turn around, you see the kitchen that I helped organize with a number of volunteers in the audience, where we got the Bayview Neighborhood Association, the Humboldt Park Watch, Bayview Neighborhood, the Bayview High School, as well as Home Depot together at a table and said, look, we've got a tough financial situation. Let's figure out what we can do and how we can do it and what we can start the fastest and finish the fastest. And we did it. It's complete. I encourage you to head back there and check it out, because that was completely free of tax dollars, done by the students at Bayview High School with the coordination of people in this room. So that's something that I've done. On top of that, I think that having our environment is crucial. So not just for our park system, but overall for our state park system and for the environment. And that includes clean energy